Well, firstly, thanks for having us. My name's Kev Hedges. I'm the CEO and co-founder of NannyPod, and we aim to solve childcare across the US. Industry breakdown very quickly. Short-term childcare is one side of the industry. That essentially is where parents are looking for a babysitter, a one-off appointment, perhaps a date night babysitter of some sort. The other side of the industry is the long-term childcare, where families are looking for a long-term nanny, either part-time or full-time. Very easy to understand the industry, just two sides to it: long-term childcare or short-term childcare. So what are the problems of short-term childcare? Well, firstly, babysitters want to pick up jobs on the fly, on demand. The existing apps are very overpriced. Parents have a very limited access to babysitters that they know and trust. And it's a bit of a pain to schedule and book them and pay them, right? So a couple of key problems on the short-term childcare side. What are the problems of the long-term childcare side? Well, existing platforms are massively overpriced, like care.com and Urban Sitter. There's very messy pricing across those for extra background check fees, or even traditional nanny agencies charging large placement fees of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per family. There's wait lists for daycare centers. The business model is just archaic, and it provides a huge barrier to entry to a lot of families. And then you've got circumnavigation risk as well, where families may end up finding a nanny and then not paying the nanny agency, okay? So those are the problems of the long-term childcare side of the industry. So this is what we did 5 years ago. We set up NannyPod to learn as much as we could about the industry, and we racked up around 3,000 families that subscribed to NannyPod. We've got around 7,000 babysitters and nannies in the platform, and we did 7,200 bookings over 5 years, and parents spent $1.3 million on childcare through NannyPod. We learned a heck of a lot from that, and I'll talk about how we're going to pivot our business model in a second. The main thing that we learned is that parents are more than happy to pay a convenience transaction fee on booking childcare. They like optional background checks. We learned that babysitters and nannies do not like to pay any fees at all whatsoever, okay? Do not try and cream money off a babysitter. They just do not appreciate that. We learned that the competition is very, very expensive. And we also learned that parents do not like recurring annual subscription fees. That's very, very important. So we learned a heck of a lot about the industry in 5 years. So what's the solution? The solution is the new NannyPod platform and app, where parents can go on and find, book, and pay for either short-term childcare or long-term childcare. Doesn't matter if they need a one-time babysitter for Saturday night, for a date night appointment with their wife or their girlfriend, whatever it may be, or if the family is looking for a long-term, part-time or full-time nanny, okay? Some of the key features are that it's purely a connectivity platform, and parents can invite their existing babysitters they already trust into the app and create their own little pod of other parents that they trust and babysitters they trust, and NannyPod can dump on the top background checked nannies and babysitters to pump up the volume, right? Obviously, the childcare providers can now get jobs on demand, and parents can go through the app and select the nannies or babysitters that they want to hire, ping them for a request for Saturday night, and guess what? This app is free. The only way we make money is through transactions when the parents pay the babysitters. Okay, we have a very, very low fee, negligible model for the parents. Okay, and there's no fees to childcare providers. If parents are looking for a long-term nanny, they can use the Match-Ovate feature, which is kind of like Match.com. If you remember Match.com, the dating app, it sort of matches you up based on your personality and a little basic algorithm. Okay, and it's a flat fee, but the majority of our income will come from the transactional side where parents are looking for on-demand childcare. So what's our target market? Well, there's 83 million families in the US. 7 million of those families a year spend $42 billion on childcare. And we reckon that we can get around 1.4 million of those families to use NannyPod, the free platform to find, book, and pay for childcare on a weekly basis. There's some other statistics down the bottom, but we're short on time, so I won't bother boring you with those. Competition, real quick. As you can see, NannyPod is the least expensive. Bambino is pretty close. But if we look at the major players out there like Care.com and Sitter.com and Urban Sitter, they all have monthly subscription fees that recur. And although that may sound like a very nice business model, parents don't like it. So why would you create a subscription business model when you can do transactional? If you really want to get into the nitty-gritty on how we check all the boxes from a competitive advantage perspective, you can look at this slide. We really have hammered it home and learned a heck of a lot about the industry in 5 years of being in business. So the interesting part, how do we make money? So as I said, we have a transactional business model. Every time a parent pays a babysitter, we make $2.20 every single time. It doesn't matter if they book them for 30 minutes so they can run to the grocery store, a couple of hours so they can run some errands, or it's a 3-4 hour date night once a week. It doesn't matter. We make a transactional fee, and it's $2.20 on the short-term childcare solution. On the long-term childcare, if they're looking for a nanny, part-time or full-time, it's a flat $250 Match-Ovate fee. And as I mentioned earlier, that's a bit like the Match.com dating algorithm that helps parents match up with a nice part-time or full-time nanny. And if they want to do an optional background check, we can make an extra $10 as a markup. So now you know how we make money. How do we scale? I've got 2 minutes. It's going quick. So we have a very detailed spending plan on how we're going to spend our capital. Obviously, basic things like press releases, PR campaigns, sponsored blog posts, getting the word out that NannyPod has a heck of a lot of credibility. We already have 10 managers in different states, by the way. Okay. There's masses of mums on Facebook groups. In Charleston alone, there's one with 8,000 people, and they go back and forth messaging, trying to book childcare, saying, hey, are you free Saturday night? Why? Because they don't want to pay a subscription fee to Care.com. So let's just provide them with a free app and gravitate all of those people from those Facebook groups over to the NannyPod app, where they can just schedule, book, and pay a negligible $2.20 transactional fee. A big element of our scalability is corporate benefit plans. This is where parents pay for childcare with pre-tax dollars, a bit like putting money into a 401k plan. Running out of time very quickly. So obviously you guys can look at our pitch deck on your own, a bit more about how we scale there. Here's our capital raise. It's a $1 million convertible note. We are a C Corp, and we do have a $5 million cap and a $3 million floor, okay? And then here's our financial forecasting. We aim to generate 114 million in recurring revenue, and we do that by having 1 million families a week booking through our app and charging a transaction fee. Okay, that is how we have an exit of 600 million. All right, we're pretty confident that we can get 114 million in annual recurring revenue with 1 million users booking once a week. Okay, I hope I said that correctly at the beginning. I think I did. And that is the end of our pitch deck. Here's our team. That's 10 minutes and 25 seconds. I'll take the floor for questions. Thank you very much.